Here's my predicament. See these lights up here? Watch what happens when I turn this. See how it flickers on and off even though it's supposed to go bright, low, bright. I'll be inside this room and that thing will just flicker and then just go right off. Very annoying. So we need to replace this dimmer switch again. This is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one in about 7 years. I'm not sure exactly what happens. My theory is teenage boys, boom, 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 pounding on that thing really isn't helping. So we're going to go with a different version here. Have a slider and a light. I was going to do a bigger version of this where it's just like a panel like that, but it's not going to fit in this space and then I'm going to have to jig it around and find a new plate. So we're going to keep it pretty simple, trying to use this guy right here. For this project, you could do it all with a screwdriver, and I have in the past. But since I have a multimeter, I'm going to use that to verify that there's no load going into the circuit where I'm going to replace the dimmer switch. And a drill is good with an assortment of drill bits to help along the unscrewing of things. Some wire cutters might be also helpful. Again, this is all pretty simple. I've been using these kind of dimmer switches, or the rotate on and off, and then, or sometimes they pop on and off like the one that I'm replacing. They're pretty simple. They're a little cheaper than these, which is the toggler, and you can see here it's got a switch, on and off switch, and you have a dimmer switch. The great thing about this dimmer switch and this combination is you can just set it at whatever level and then turn it on and off that way. And it fits in a regular switch socket. Whatever you do nowadays, you might as well get the ones that have LED CFL, although CFLs are going away. And we're going to try putting this guy in and see if it does better than these rotary switches. So let's just open it up and see what we got here. What comes in the kit. And I'll post down below where you can get this version or this version, whatever your preference is. Okay, so there's the switch. It has some sort of adjustment there. It's a little right of center. Replacing these, if you're comfortable, it's relatively easy, but I'm not a professional electrician. Copper screw, single pull, three-way. In this case, I have a single pull, one control for all the lighting system. This one actually has two or more controls. Like in my dining room, that's what my situation is. And here's the little adjust dimming range for LEDs and CFLs. Okay, so we'll give that a shot. Ground's pretty obvious. So the first thing we need to do is shut off this light and make sure that there's no electricity running to the box. Here's a major problem you can run into with a multi-switch like this. So this is off and dead. This one actually is the lights above here. Dead. This one still on. This is on a different circuit. In order to safely do this, you can't just shut this off. I've got to go back to the circuit panel and shut this light switch off. So I hit the other switch on the circuit breaker and this is dead, which is great. The only problem is it's going to be hard for you to see what I do here because all the lights are off. So I got to bring in some external lighting and then we'll light this up so you can see what I do next. Even though these are off, and I've proven that by looking at the lights, I'm going to shut those down before I take all these screws out. Be careful though, because sometimes these screws can be very sharp and can cut your fingers. And then I always have a magnet cup here. I put the screws in so I don't lose them. Alright, now that that's off, you just pull this guy off. Pull that out. Now this one, hoo-ha, hee-ha, ho-ha. different configuration has all these guys associated with it. There's the ground, and then a black wire and a red wire. The only problem is these are ganged together into 2 wires, and that just disconnected. So you know what? I wonder if the reason why I had a problem was because this wire wasn't in there the whole way. So instead of throwing this guy away, I might actually put him to the side, because there's a couple other dimmer switches that I want to install in the house. Yeah, that just came out way too easy. Put this to the side. Now I'm still curious to see how this goes. The first thing you got to do is connect the ground. And since I have these caps here, that's what I'm going to use for this. Just screw those on. They're really helpful. Alright, so I got a black wire and 2 red wires. Crazy, crazy. You know, one of the things that I'm always amazed about with electrical situations, see, is this is connected to this. This is just the way they gang them together. Not sure why they do it that way, probably because it's easier for them, but as a homeowner, when you want to do your own work, this can be very confusing. Now for a multi-post, you would tie in here and here, but since I don't have a multi-post, but I have this red situation, I'm presuming that I'm going to be able to tie in to those 2 locations. And so now I got to cut that and have 2 wires to play with. So we'll run down here, flatten it out. Cut the wire, red wire or blue wire. In this case, it's the red wire. I don't regret that. I guess what I could have done is just take that loop and put it into the brass there. But since these are both brass, I'm hoping it's going to work this way. Straighten that out, make a C out of this guy. Actually, I'm just going to cut that little nub off right there. Might have to strip that down a little bit. Again, all this extra work just because electricians want to be a little faster when they build their house. I'm not sure this is the way it's always been for folks, but just have to go those extra steps. Now, since this is the wire that goes to this light switch here, I'm going to put it on this one down here, and then I'm going to put this wire that comes out of the box up here. So we'll see how that works. So pull him out, put him around back this way, and feed him in. Alright, looks pretty good. Now we'll just push this guy in place carefully. Hand tighten these new screws into the holes right here. Challenging to see where they are. Then you can run them home with the drill. Now, the safety plate that goes over the top of it. See how it all matches up. Now I'm going to put a couple screws in here, not all of them, until I'm pretty sure this thing's working right. Okay, so here's the situation. That's on. This works. Off is up in this case. On. Dim it all the way down. Shut it off. So I like that. And the great thing about this is it's wherever you have it last. Problem is though, this switch doesn't work because of that stupid connection where they just kind of ganged them together. So now I've got to take it off and put both of those wires into the same location. So originally the black wire was over here. Now I'm putting it over there. The thought is it's a polarity issue. In other words, if I want the switch down, then I put the black wire here, and then I'll put these 2 red wires over here. And then twist it all down and in and see if it works. A little bit of working back and forth and was able to get those 2 guys just in there really sandwiched in well. Grounded. Black wire runs around to the other side. Now let's put it back in and see what we got. So one of the reasons why I wanted to get this guy is because I liked the fact that you can just set it at a certain level, shut it off, it comes right back on. That red wire really kind of annoyed me, but that's just the way it's set up. And so, you know, if you have 2 wires going into a bundle, you don't even have to cut them like I did. In fact, you probably shouldn't. Just straighten the wire out, loop it around that one connector, and then you got both of these guys working. The other thing is if you prefer to have the switch down as off, you might have to switch the black wire and the other wire to make that happen with your dimmer switch. There's nowhere in the instructions that come with this that talk about those setbacks that I had. So this first light here is a LED. That light is a incandescent, that light's an incandescent. I haven't gone with LEDs because they were buzzing and all that stuff. Probably because I didn't have the right dimmer switch in here. Now I think I've got the right dimmer switch. See, that brings it all the way down to dark. And if you don't like it on at all, I mean, it's pretty low. And that's kind of nice. There's like a cherry orange glow on the regular incandescent lights. But if you want to go a little lower, you can just adjust that switch over here. Blue one that's in the dimmer switch right here. I think I favor this kind of switch. I think it looks better than this round one. It seems to be performing better. Rotary switch. It looks kind of clunky, looks kind of old. This looks a little more elegant maybe. And these guys haven't held up very well for me. Thumbs up and comments always appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in home repairs, designs of all kinds, making and breaking stuff, I even do costumes, cosplay, and props. Check out my channel and please subscribe because you never know what repair you might see.